This is what you'll see. Come out to Myrtle Square Mall late today and see the kickoff of Carousel Horses on parade. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Myrtle Square Mall. We're at the offices of the Myrtle Beach Herald-Star, a locally owned and operated weekly newspaper, and we're visiting with Harry Love, the co-chairman of the Myrtle Beach Cultural Arts Advisory Committee. Good morning, Harry. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Well, nice to be here.
Incredible opportunity to highlight Carousel Horses on Parade, something that started a good while back and is reaching fruition today. Myrtle Square Mall. Artists will be arriving around 3 o'clock, be in the food court and the carousel court to think about so much that will be happening over the next couple months as these horses are created and then displayed, kicking off in the Sun Fun Parade on May 31st.
Right.
Truly exciting.
Oh, yeah. It'll be, I think, one of the highlights of the summer season. And it'll be some outdoor art for people to see.
Yes. I think, am I correct, that you all are putting together a map of where the 50 horses will be displayed around town so that folks can travel around?
Yeah, and the map will show both the artist and the sponsor and the location of their horses.
That'll be a great tourist attraction itself.
Sure thing.
Harry, how long have you lived in Myrtle Beach?
Well, I've been here permanently about 20 years. But I've been coming here since 1954 and owned property here since 1972. So I feel like Myrtle Beach is home.
You've been coming here from?
New York. Like a lot of people.
Yes, very definitely. A heck of a lot of folks. How about, when did you first learn of the effort to establish a venue for local theater?
Well, I've been going to some of the local theater presentations, and, they perform in fellowship halls of churches and some totally inadequate places. But it isn't fair to the actors and it isn't fair to the audience. It's needed.
Have you been involved in a lot of other civic groups here locally, Harry?
Well, yeah, a few. Currently, I'm on the Knight Foundation Advisory Board, and from time to time, I've been on the boards of the Horticultural Arts Council, the Art Museum, Walk of Art Guild. It keeps me busy and out of trouble.
And speaking of art, do you have your own artistic side?
Well, I try, yeah. I haven't been painting in the last 3 months because I really haven't had time. We've been busy with this thing. But, I do watercolor.
When did you first become involved in creating your own art?
Oh, I've been doing it all my life.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. But not seriously or professionally, anything of that sort.
Has your art been displayed in any galleries?
Sure. The Artworks down in Litchfield Exchange, Collectors Cafe, where else? Seascape Gallery, new place up in Little River at a restaurant up there called Your Place or Ours, a new restaurant.
Do you have a favorite medium or subject?
Well, I paint mostly in watercolor now. I used to paint in oil, but once I got down here, I found that people were painting in watercolor. That seemed to be a popular thing, and I switched.
Harry, what inspired the renovation of the Rivoli Theater as a cultural arts center?
Well, it was sitting there empty and deteriorating, and it just seemed like the place for this new venue for the arts organization.
How about the idea of the Carousel Horses as a project to help renovate the theater?
Well, when we found out through Steve Usry's drawings that it was going to be about a $3.5 million, maybe even more, we went to City Council and they challenged us to see what the community would do, see whether there's community support. We looked around the country for projects that raised lots of money, and these critter projects did it. Cows in Chicago, pigs in Cincinnati, horses in Lexington, Kentucky, carousel horses out in Illinois, in Naperville. And we just figured carousel horses was just the right thing. We're down near the pavilion, which has a very famous carousel. And away we went.
To date, you've raised almost $300,000.
Yes. When we get to the auction, that should really be the payoff.
Sure. And just to give the impression in the city of Myrtle that things are rolling along. I mean, this was just to help jumpstart things.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And there are going to be events, performances by some of the nonprofit arts groups that will be using the Rivoli when it's renovated.
Absolutely. How were the artists in their designs determined for the Carousel Horses on Parade project?
Well, the artists all took the template, the outline of the horse, and usually with watercolor, some of them with color pencil, showed how they proposed to paint the Carousel horse. And we had about 65 artists give us entries. Some of them could do 2. And then we took those to the potential sponsors, and they picked out the artists they liked, the art they liked.
And the all 50 of the horses have found sponsors?
Not quite. We figured 50 was a good number because it gave us a better price per unit. Originally we had 40 sponsors signed, and the committee decided that because we still had some outstanding, we'd add 10, and sure enough, we've had 4 other sponsors come in. So we still have 6 horses that if there's any elite cover would like to sponsor a horse, I could talk to them.
Great, Harry. Either you or I think it was Diane Devon Stokes who actually called on.
She is the sales lady.
Ooh.
Par excellence. Tough competition.
Yes, it's great that you all are going out in tandem.
Well, we did with some we went individually, but we did almost 200 face-to-face interviews.
Is that right, Harry?
Yeah.
What's that like going out on calls with Diane Devon Stokes?
Exciting. I usually sit there with my mouth open and just fill in if she ever takes a breath.
Right.
It gives me a
Oh, exciting. Well, that's great. Well, we're looking forward to getting Diane in tomorrow to talk about what it was like, the experience of gauging this entire project.
Yeah.
And surely Carousel Horses on Parade is so exciting to think about that opportunity to display, surely the creation of the horses here at Myrtle Square Mall, to see them in the parade on May 31st, and to know that there's still some horses available, the opportunity to sponsor even up to 6 more horses.
Right.
What would a potential contribution, what would the contribution need to be able to sponsor one of the 6 horses?
Well, sponsorship is $5,000.
Okay.
1,000 of it goes to the artist, and from that they have to pay for their supplies. And the horse itself, with the hardware and all, comes to around $2,000. So that leaves about $2,000 that goes into the Rivoli Fund.
Right. And speaking of that Rivoli Fund, can we talk about how the Rivoli Theater will serve the community, Harry?
Well, I think primarily it will serve these nonprofit organizations. We have 3 or 4 theater companies. We have a couple of dance groups. We have many vocal and instrumental groups. All of them can use a venue of about 500 seats, and that's exactly what this will be.
Have you met with some of these community groups about participation in the project?
Yes, last week, about 27 representatives of these nonprofit arts organizations assembled in the Dutch Street Luncheon, and all of them responded very favorably. And I think in late this year and spring of next year, you're going to see a lot of benefit events staged by those folks. I'm sure.
How exciting. Can we talk about some of the features that will be located in this Cultural Arts Center?
Sure. Like I say, it'll be about a 500-seat venue. We'll have to enlarge the stage, put in an orchestra pit. We'll have to raise the ceiling on the stage to provide for flies and so forth. And in the concept that architect Steve Usry did for us, we'd add a wing onto the north side. And in front, adjacent to the lobby, would be an art gallery. And then from there back would be rehearsal rooms, dressing rooms, and utility spaces.
One of the great things when Diane was calling actually on us to talk about Carolina People sponsoring a horse, she laid out that a replica or a picture of that horse would be taken and displayed in the lobby of the Rivoli Theater for years to come. So this $5,000 investment, which seems like such a big deal, I'm sure to a lot of folks, truly isn't when you think about the experience of being able to display a horse that you've sponsored, that you or your company or individuals have sponsored throughout town, to be displayed in the Sun Fun Parade, to be created here at the mall. That's such a small price to pay.
Yeah, well, in addition, every sponsor will have their horse, will be matting and framing the original drawing of the horse, and have a little plaque on there that shows the name of the sponsor, name of the horse, name of the artist, and those will be on the wall of the lobby of the renovated Rivoli Theater, so that a sponsor forevermore, people know that they were a sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Harry, have volunteers been successful, have been important to the success of this project?
Oh, yeah. And early on, we had people respond to our call for volunteers. You can always use more, mm-hmm. and but they've been very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What could someone do if there were some, if a viewer was interested in possibly volunteering? What would be a position that someone could volunteer to help with?
Well, there are all kinds of things. We've divided the committee up into subcommittees, and for example, there's a subcommittee on publicity, and there's a subcommittee on taking care of the carousel horses. There's a subcommittee on taking care of what we call logistics, getting the flatbed trucks for the Sun Fun Parade, so that we have all of our volunteers divided up into these subcommittees so that they get a choice of the kind of thing they'd be interested in doing.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. If someone wanted to volunteer, who would they want to contact, Harry?
Well, I think probably the best one is Diane McKenzie. Her number is 918-1069. And if they can't get her, they could call me, and I'm in the book.
Harry Love in the phone book. Pertaining to the carousel horses on parade, is there any accomplishment over the past year of which you're probably most proud, Harry?
Well, I don't know. It's I tell you this, it's been a lot more work than any of us envisioned, but it's been worthwhile. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of volunteering for.
That's wonderful. Harry, I mentioned someone that I was going to see you this morning, and they were really excited. They were trying to gauge, they didn't know where you'd grown up, and the excitement of, you grew up in New York.
Well, yeah, I was born and raised in upstate New York, but when I came down here, I came down from the New York City area. In fact, I worked in the city for years and years, commuted back and forth to Mount Kisco, New York.
Harry, if you weren't currently co-chairing the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'm not sure. There's always something to do around this town. If you aren't interested in getting paid and you're interested in things like the arts, there are lots of opportunities. I came down here to play golf and found out that my drives got shorter, my score got larger, and I thought, gee, there must be something better to do with my time. And sure enough, there is. There are a lot of things to do with your time.
You heard Harry Love say it. Lots of things to do with your time. If you're not interested in getting paid and volunteering, the city of Myrtle Beach will find something for you to do. Harry, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
It's good to be here.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to Diane McKenzie coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at Myrtle Square Mall. We're at the offices of the Myrtle Beach Herald-Star, a locally owned and operated weekly newspaper. And we're visiting with Diane McKenzie. Good morning, Diane. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible opportunity to be here at the mall, to think the artists will be arriving around 3 o'clock today in the food court and the carousel court to get together to begin painting these carousel horses.
Right. We're very excited about this. This is a project that came about as a result of the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee of the City of Myrtle Beach.
And to think having Harry in just moments ago, and the two of you all, of course, Harry and Diane Devon Stokes, co-chairing the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee. Very exciting.
It is.
Very exciting. Can we talk about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
Well, I'm originally from Andrews, which is in Georgetown County, and after high school I moved away for about 25 years and then came back to Myrtle Beach 10 years ago, and I've been with the city since then.
You had been with the city prior to leaving, or
No.
was this a new first
This is
time?
a new venture.
Great. Had you studied planning when you were growing up, or?
Well, and I got my master's in public administration, and that's when I became interested in planning.
Is that right? How exciting. And coming back to Myrtle Beach after 10 years away, to think about the experiences of seeing change in Myrtle Beach, can you describe what that was like coming back after 10 years?
There were a lot of significant changes, and of course changes continually take place every day, as you know, but when I came back in '94, that's when the changes really started coming about in Myrtle Beach. When I was a teenager coming to the pavilion and going to the beach club up around North Myrtle Beach, Labor Day weekend, businesses started boarding up, and there was absolutely nothing here between Labor Day and Memorial Day weekend or Easter weekend, so a lot of big changes.
Diane, what's going to be happening here at Myrtle Square Mall over the next couple of months? Obviously, the excitement today for all the artists to arrive.
Right.
What's going to be going on here? What could viewers or anyone else expect if they were out seeing the artists in action?
Well, as you mentioned, the artists are going to be here starting at 3 o'clock today, and they'll begin painting their horses. And people can come by and watch the artists in action, ask them questions about the project, about their design for the horses. It's going to be building momentum for the big occasion that's coming up for the Sun Fun Parade, when the horses will be parading in that, and then when the horses are going to be just on display throughout the summer throughout Myrtle Beach.
Great. Can we tell folks again exactly what Carousel Horses on Parade is, and how this, and if the city of Myrtle Beach has taken an active role in the project?
Myrtle Beach has taken a very active role. We appointed people to the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee who have been charged with coordinating the Carousel Horses on Parade project. And the Carousel Horses on Parade project is a fundraiser for the old Rivoli Theater. We hope to renovate that and make it into a cultural arts center for the performing and visual arts for the Myrtle Beach community.
Great, good. So when you lay out all the goals, the Rivoli Theater had been in existence for how many years, and when did it actually cease its actual operating?
The Rivoli Theater was actually built in the late 50s, early 60s, and it was a movie theater for many, many years. Then it became a children's theater, and then as within the last 10 years it was a nightclub, and then it was closed, and the city acquired it about 3 years ago.
Okay, so 3 years ago.
Right.
And the funds that will be raised throughout not only the Carousel Horses on Parade, but will there be other fundraising drives?
Oh, most definitely. We'll be having different arts organizations doing benefit performances, and I'm sure there'll be other fundraising opportunities throughout the community, like naming rights for the building, naming seats after a family member, a lot of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. What's the estimated cost of the entire renovation project, Diane?
Well, Steve Ushery, who has been a very, very generous architect and doing some renderings for us, his estimate 2 years ago was $3.5 million, so it's probably closer to $4 million today with the inflation value.
Right, right. And the amount that's been raised up to date would be around $230,000?
Probably closer to about $300,000
Is
at
that
this
right?
point.
Fantastic.
Right.
The rest of the funds that may not be raised throughout some of the fundraising events, are there expectations that some other folks would come into play, or?
Well, we hope that the community who is willing to give donations, we're certainly open to those as well. Any corporate people that would like to come in and make donations, we're willing to take their money, believe me.
Great. How about some of the projects been patterned after other efforts? The Carousel Horse Project has been laid out. There have been similar projects in cities that I'm sure folks will be aware of in Chicago.
All right, Chicago Cows. That's been very, very popular, probably for the past 5 or 6 years. They've raised over $5 million for the arts in the Chicago area through their Chicago Cows project, and they sold miniatures of the cows that were decorated. Lizards were done in Orlando, Florida within the last 2 or 3 years. They were very successful. Thoroughbred horses in Lexington, Kentucky. Naperville, Illinois has also done carousel horses as well. So there are a lot of places that do it. Cincinnati has done pigs. You name it, there are critters
Cincinnati
out
has done
there.
pigs. Did
Right.
anyone travel around to some of the other cities and see that success, or was most of this done by calling around or going online?
Most of it was done by calling or going online, but Diane Devon Stokes had seen the Chicago cows, and some of the other Cultural Arts Advisory Committee members had seen those as well.
The excitement obviously is getting so close to think about what will happen over the next couple months, obviously, as folks are painting. I think there's a parade coming up as well.
Right, Sun Fun Parade, May the 31st, down Ocean Boulevard, a great tradition for over 50 years in Myrtle Beach. The carousel horses are going to be a part of that parade.
Is that right? How will those be transported in the parade, Diane?
That's going to be a fun project. Dargan Construction Company, Bill Klein is on our Cultural Arts Advisory Committee, and Dargan is going to be helping us get those horses on floats. We're looking for volunteers to help with that effort, as well as people who are willing to maybe donate some flatbed trucks to help us as well.
Now, will the Sun Fun Parade be the first time the horses are unveiled?
Primarily, yes, to the general public. Now, people will be able to come by Myrtle Square Mall and see the horses. They will be on display through May 31st here at the mall.
Okay, and how many carousel horses, how many have actually been purchased, whether by businesses or other folks locally?
50. We have 50 horses.
Okay, fantastic.
Right.
And those will all be in the parade.
Exactly.
How exciting.
Yes.
How exciting. Have the determination of placement after the parade and up until they actually go out for bid been decided for all 50 horses?
Yes, they definitely have. It was left up to the sponsor, the business. Like Fox 43, Carolina People is sponsoring a horse, and you got to choose your destination of where you would like your horse displayed. Some of the businesses that didn't want their horses in front of their place of business, they can have them on public property like some of our city parks or maybe City Hall or the Law Enforcement Center, various locations throughout the Grand Strand.
Right, we were real excited. Diane Devon Stokes was laying out some certain locations that hadn't yet been taken around town,
right,
and helping me gauge, or Carolina People gauge, where some of the best locations, or so many great locations throughout the community, whether it's in front of a business or in front of Pepper Gettings or in front of the convention center.
Right.
Some very exciting locations. And I guess in checking out other cities and other locations, did some of the ideas of what you would do to highlight the carousel horse as well as the sponsors, were those obtained from checking out other city locations?
Oh, definitely. Greg, one thing that's been done in the cities that have done critter projects, they have maps, and they make this a tourist attraction as well as something for the local resident as well. And it could be a game. You get a copy of the map, and you go and search out where the horses are located. And it could be a day of fun-filled activity for the whole family in looking for these horses.
That's a great idea. And is Myrtle Beach doing that?
Oh, yes, we definitely are.
Great. Good. What will eventually happen with the horses, Diane? And I know Harry talked about this a little bit, but what will eventually happen?
Well, they're going to be on display through Labor Day. And then after Labor Day, we'll take them up and we'll bring them back to the mall here at Myrtle Square Mall, and they'll be on display until September the 20th. Then we'll have an auction. We're going to have a live auction, and we also hope to go on eBay as well to auction off these horses to the highest bidder, and that's where we really hope to make the money for this project.
Great. Online, and that you said September 29th?
September the 20th.
Oh, September 20th.
Right.
Okay. If there were folks who wanted to be surely coming out to the mall to see them on display, to see the artists actually creating what so many folks will be traveling around the city to check out, to see it throughout the months that they are located in front of certain institutions around town, will there be another opportunity to display these online, or will there?
We have a website. We're at carouselhorses.net, and those horses will be online for people to look at as well.
Okay, so all 50 of the horses can be viewed online after they're finished.
Right, exactly.
Fantastic. Are there any volunteers involved in the effort? Obviously, you have the Cultural Arts Advisory Committee and the 8 or 9 folks that are on the committee, as well as folks like yourself.
Right. We have a large number of volunteers, Greg. We probably have 50 or 60 people that have been involved. We have a logistics committee, people who are taking care of the Sun Fun Parade, people who are taking care of helping to display the horses at various locations. We have an artist committee, people that have been working with the artist and getting the rules and regulations down on what can be done and what cannot be done. We also have a sponsorship committee with the Harry and Diane have headed up. We've gone out and solicited the sponsorships from the local businesses here in the community. Then we also have the benefit subcommittee where arts organizations can give their benefit performance and make their contributions to the Rivoli Fund as well.
Right. If a viewer was interested in volunteering in any way, what are much of what you've talked about are opportunities they could experience? Are there some other things that you may need volunteers for?
Oh, we definitely do. They'll just give me a call at 918-1069. That's the City of Myrtle Beach Planning Department. I'll be glad to put them to work.
And viewers who may be within the PD or southeastern North Carolina could have some involvement. This is obviously a very novel, incredible opportunity to raise funds for a performing arts center that will benefit in a very large area.
Exactly, exactly. And one thing, too, and keeping in mind that our friends in Florence and people throughout the southeastern region, this is going to be a great family attraction, a good opportunity to come to Myrtle Beach and spend the weekend in some of our hotels and restaurants and visit our horses while you're here.
You heard Diane McKenzie say it. 843-918-1069. If you want to reach her, if you'd like to volunteer to help out Carousel Horses on Parade, come out to Myrtle Square Mall today. Artists will be arriving around 3 p.m. You can come check out exactly what they'll be doing over the next couple months, as well as to see so many of the volunteers that have given a lot to make Carousel Horses on Parade a success. Diane, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Greg, for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. This is what you'll see. Come out to Myrtle Square Mall late today and see the kickoff of Carousel Horses on Parade. Check it out at carouselhorses.net.